to be able to harness effectively the opportunities available in the oil and gas industry. It is also a forum where entrepreneurs can assess, practical advice on how to deal with teething challenges that relate to business. My name, I am the team lead human capital for Wider Perspectives Limited, and I will be your host for today's events. My colleague, the managing director of Wider Perspectives Limited, Mrs. Edugom Hansen, will be moderating the technical and interactive session of this program, where our role model and facilitator will be speaking to us. Now we're going to quickly do some recognitions and then take our ground rules that will help us through this workshop today. I would want to, first of all, recognize the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, in the person of Engineer Simbi Kesie Wabote. Also join me, let's welcome our Bonigas Transport is here also to share with us today. At the right time, my colleague Mrs. Hansen would take us through the citation. I would also like to recognize the presence of the General Manager of the Nigerian Content Development and
while we await the response from Mr. Benwari Tario, who was moderating this session. Okay, we can get feedback that no sound. I hope you can hear me. We'll just proceed by establishing some ground rules. The question, we've deliberately used the meeting platform for this mentorship session to enable us interact, because we want this to be very engaging. So we have the Q&A session that will happen just after the moderator, just after our role model, Engineer Tony Atta, goes through the technical session. If you have questions, we would like you to put those questions on the chat box. We've also designed this program in such a way that we will take your a video, we'll have a video or a camera session, a photo session. So that's why we've deliberately used the meeting platform to allow such interaction. And the program will be live streamed. So you can also share the link, we'll share the link of the live stream so that you can also be a part of it if your colleagues would like to view this session from wherever they are. Mr. Benwari Tario is back, so I would ask him to proceed.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Hansen, for covering up for me. Sorry, I was technically knocked out by internet service providers. All right, so I'm back. Thank you very much. So we've gone through the ground rules, and most importantly, we're recording these events, and we will share with you the recordings at the end of this program, so you can refer to it after today or for any other purpose for which you want to use it. All right, so we would move on to our opening prayer. And for the opening prayer, we're all going to recite, well, your microphones are muted, but I would like you to just say it wherever you are. Join me, I'm going to read it. It's the prayer for us today as we open the program for the various activities. So join me in this prayer. O God of creation, direct our noble course, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true, great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Amen. Hallelujah. So thank you. And once again, I want to say welcome to every one of us as we move on to the next item on our agenda, which is the welcome address. Okay, sorry, the welcome address by the General Manager, Capacity Building Division, Dr. Ama Ikru. I'm sure he's in the room now. Sir, are you in the room? The floor is open for the welcome address.
Okay, so good morning all, and I want to share a few slides with us before we start. Let me start by welcoming us to the business mentoring workshop. As most of you would have known, it's the board's effort to support service companies and the Nigerian companies to have skills that they require to continue to support the industry and to sustain capacities and capabilities already established. We are looking at this particular workshop as a way of helping us to build our resilience against the challenges that we have in the environment, especially the challenge of COVID. So I'll quickly look through what happened to most companies in 2020. Yeah, but before then, as a board, we consider the support and the building of capacity of vendors as one of our goals. We have to build capacity and enforce the implementation of the act. So this one lies squarely within the corridors of building the capacity of companies. Now, if you can see my screen, I was looking at what year 2020 and the impact of 2020 on a number of businesses. We could not hold all the planned business mentoring and capacity building event for vendors last year on the account of COVID. And most people, the lockdowns did not help the business, people did not have activities, and then no new contracts. We would say that some cost in some companies, cost went up, revenues declined, and the profit went down. Market size shrank. In some companies also, some companies could not even survive it. They declared bankruptcy, except in Nigeria, I don't see statistics of companies that went under on the account of what happened. But globally, a lot of companies could no longer continue to exist in the industry, on the account of what COVID pandemic and the changes in the environment. The question is, how are we aligning our processes? How are we changing our culture and organization? How are we empowering our people and our staff to these changes? Yeah, you can say it's easy to say 2020 was the worst year. On our side as a board, we continue to be very resilient. We delivered a number of key programs, but over and above the things that we delivered, kept our offices open, albeit virtually, to continue to attend their needs and to continue to train people. We are proud of the completion of the tower, the Nigerian content in Anywhere. We are proud of the completion of the refinery, the refinery that we invested in. We are proud of our achievement in expanding the Nigerian Content Fund, number of capacity building initiatives that we can. Yeah, of course, we are proud of the support of LNG to get to the 27 FID. and a number of other good things we have done together. But when we look around the world, some companies were not so lucky, like the Hertz company, McDermott, Whiting. Most of these companies are oil and gas companies. Yeah, oil and gas companies like ourselves. So I consider us very lucky to have survived, that we are still standing and we are still ready to move forward. I think you need to congratulate yourselves. Our industry, the oil industry, changed significantly in 2021. In 2020, up to 2021, we had the point at the point last year, witnessed crude oil selling for like $19 per barrel. We're happy today that it has come back again, and we can see oil, I mean, in the range of 60 something dollars per barrel. It means that there is hope for all of us, and we need to do the right things to put the right tools in our toolboxes, to be ready for the businesses of tomorrow. The outlook, yes, we hear a lot of people saying the oil industry will decline and will no longer be relevant. But if we do our own jobs, if we develop the right skills and continue to support the Nigerian content effort, I'm sure that the future is much, much brighter for all of us. In today's meeting, we want to answer a few of your questions. You have a number of questions bothering you, and we've invited a very experienced business executive to mentor all of us on the call today. A number of people come to us to say, how can we survive the problem of COVID? How can we survive the challenges we have in the environment? Should we invest? Should we continue to build capacities? Do we need new tools? Why are you asking us to establish manufacturing capability in country? Would we buy investment? You've asked those questions. Some are asking, where are the opportunities? Yeah, and why are we, being asked to do more in the industry? What will happen to our people, to our business, to our cost and profitability? Yeah, what are our strategies? So many questions we've been asking, and as a process in the area of human capacity development and capacity building generally, we look for the best minds from time to time to come talk to us, to help direct us. And today we have a good mentor. We hope we will achieve the following objectives. One, build capacity companies, especially the new companies we've initiated into the Project 100 ranks, the 40 companies, in addition to the older. If you recall, year before last, we had Atedo Peter Said addressing this house, and we had the MD of Boskel and Co. talking to us about how to navigate the business environment. We'll try to focus in this only on business issues. I know you have a lot of very good questions to ask, but please, let's keep it a business. Talk about how you can improve your business performance and grow Nigerian content and grow the Nigerian economy. Let's learn from the experiences of the business executive we have today. Let's also support him. You are also very experienced business executive, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity of having some of you volunteer yourselves to hold this session. We thank God for technology and the fact that we can do these meetings virtually. We'll try to do as many as possible based on the executives that we have. I know we have the commitment of the former managing director of Shell and the MD of and the chairman of a to talk to us sometime very soon. So probably we'll do that maybe next month, virtual session as well. But I'm looking for volunteers and very good business managers who will also share their ideas and their knowledge with us. And I hope that after the learning today, you will find time to have all the key things, the key takeaways from the meeting today in your business. The end point, I will not be the one to introduce the business executive today, but this is the relationship and the roles. Let's say myself as patient today, and the doctor is the business executive. It will give us all the ideas, it will give us all the support that we need to move forward. Today, the doctor is the MD, the managing director of Nigerian liquefied natural gas plant, engineer Tony Yatta. Tony, I have known Tony for so many years. I think I'll probably say more than 25 years, if I'm not mistaken. Worked together and shared for some time. Was my VP. He managed NEPCO as a business before a transfer. He was also the VP Human Resources. So on all fronts, on all sides of the business, Tony is very experienced. I do not have a citation. I'm sure the team from a wider perspective, partners in today's meeting, will do just this profile. So that said, let me remind us again that the board has two jobs. Yeah, first is to develop local capacity. Second is to monitor compliance and enforce the provisions of the act. Yeah, and in so doing, we will catalyze the development and industrialization of Nigeria. You remember, I keep saying, and I keep quoting from Charles Darwin, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. The companies that I listed, that I showed that died as a result of last year and today, it's not because they are not strong. It's not because they don't have strategy. It's not because they cannot complain, but they were able to respond to change. What they can be dexterity. They know how to explore what they're currently doing and explore for new opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, let me stop at that and welcome you to the first edition of the 2021 Business Mentoring Scheme organized by the board. Welcome and thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ama-Ikuru, for that insightful welcome address. Thank you so much. Next is the workshop overview, and this will be presented by the Managing Director, Wider Perspectives Limited, Mrs. Edugom Hansen.
You're welcome, everybody, again to this wonderful session, wonderful job of giving a welcome address that really covered most areas that I would have emphasized on. This is the third business mentoring workshop that the NCDMB has held in trying to support businesses. The aim is to ensure that businesses thrive. And the NCDMB has actually played a very major role in supporting the contract industry because, it's not just about regulation. The NCDMB wants to see the businesses survive. So this is a very important workshop that should be taken as seriously as any serious business strategic. And interestingly, we have a wonderful role model, the doctor, that will be speaking to us from his wealth of experience. The business mentoring workshop aims at having selected role models, that word is underlined, because in trying to provide solution, you could go to the wrong place for diagnosis, and then the wrong treatment is given to you. But here we have carefully selected role models to address entrepreneurs, to address businesses, contractors in the oil and gas industry. Through their success stories, they're going to share from their success stories. So not just stories, general stories, but practical success stories, including the challenges that they faced and the factors that were critical to their success. Interestingly, we've had other role models, make this kind of presentation. We've had other role models engaged in this business mentoring workshop. The last person we had before the lockdown, before the COVID, crippled everything, was Atedo Peterside. He shared from his huge wealth of experience. And today we're having a phenomenal personality also coming to share from his wealth of experience. So this will serve as an inspiration to up and coming entrepreneurs, businesses in the oil and gas industry to excel and create sustainable businesses, and also guide those with growing businesses to meet the challenges which growth creates. Now, it's beyond even the issues and the challenges that growth creates. It's now talking about the real world of work that has changed. The real world in the oil and gas, the global oil and gas industry was critically affected by the COVID-19. And then businesses across board. So all the support systems and everything that would have helped businesses grow, They were all affected by COVID-19. So it's not like normal business challenges. These are trying times. And interestingly, we'll be engaged. Today, I really will encourage us to make the best of this session. There are some times when you have practical questions to ask and you're wondering, you know, I want something really practical. I want something that speaks to my need. Today, you have that opportunity, maximize it, because this will be speaking to your specific needs. The role model has gone through various aspects of the oil and gas industry. So he is the right person that will help address those issues. So once the session starts, and even from now, ensure that you have your questions, you have those pain areas that you would like the role model to discuss, because after the presentation, after his session, he will have there'll be an interactive session where your questions will be addressed. So ensure that you have those questions clearly written out. Now, the objectives of this particular business mentoring workshop is also to help you identify strategic business areas, strategic growth areas. It's possible that you will need to diversify your business operations. It's also possible that you will need to change your business model. There are various scenarios. So the objective is actually targeted at ensuring that you think differently, you think strategically. Now, our own expectation and the board's expectation is to see that you leave this workshop with a fresh passion to make a great difference in the Nigerian oil and gas industry, and then beyond the shores of Nigeria. It is not just about the Nigerian oil and gas space. Contractors want contractors to be able to play in the global industry beyond the Nigerian oil and gas industry, the Nigerian gas space. So that's our own expectation. But we know we want to also have your own expectations. So we will request that you drop your expectations in the chat room. We will give you 2-3 minutes to do that. We want to hear from you. What are your expectations? Drop your expectations in the chat room. Let's just do that quickly. Our own expectation is that you become strong, viable businesses. Now, what is your own expectation? Because we would like to marry your expectation with our expectation and also the interaction that will be happening in the course of this business mentoring workshop. So please spend 2-3 minutes, drop your expectations. So I'm seeing people at introducing themselves. What we want is your expectation. Write your expectation. Let's do that quickly. Let's do that quickly. That coming for the greetings are lovely. But we want to see your expectation. You know, as part of the objectives of the workshop, we want to develop international competitiveness and general business management skill.
All right, Mrs. Hansen is out of the call, I think for network challenge. All right, so we would like you to drop your expectations. I can see some of them to improve my system. Yeah, expectation, okay. Just drop them, we'll collate them, and then we'll try to match them with the presentation and the proceedings of this workshop. If there are other key areas that we may not be able to touch here in this workshop, I'm sure there will be other forums where we can discuss some of these expectations of yours. So thank you very much as we expect your expectations to roll in. All right, so we're going to move. Okay, welcome, Mrs. Hansen. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to quickly move to the photo session. We will give you access to put on your videos for now. For just less than five minutes, we'll just take quick photo shoots on the screen, and then we'll move to our next item, which is the meat for today's workshop, the technical session, where our role model and facilitator, Engineer Tony Atta, will be speaking to us. So please, please, can we give access to all participants to put on their videos? Just the videos, only videos, please. Put on your videos as we quickly take the photo shoots. All right, so please, Lasbury, can we quickly do that in less than 5 minutes, please? Thank you. All right, so please, Lasbury, can you technically put off all videos? So we move straight to the technical session. So Mrs. Hansen, you can take over from here.
Today we have a special personality, Tony Atta, the Managing Director and the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian LLNG Limited, and the Vice President of Bonigas Transport. Tony has over 25 years experience in the oil and gas industry. And prior to his current role at the NNNG, he was the Managing Director and Board Chairman of Shell Nigeria E&P Company SNEPCO, the Vice President HSC and Corporate Affairs, and Vice President Human Resources. He has managed other technical and non-technical roles in operations and major projects, including being head of joint venture economics in the commercial function. He holds a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Ibadan and a Master of Business Administration from the University of Benin. He is a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, a member of Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, CORE, and member of Society of Petroleum Engineers. Over his distinguished career across Europe, Russia, and Africa, Tony has led multidisciplinary teams across diverse cultures. He is renowned for his strong strategic and commercial mindset, which is underpinned by a solid technical background and excellent leadership capabilities. His goal in NLNG is to sustain the historical excellent performance, move the company to the next level, and also continue to make NLNG an inspiration to Nigeria and a company committed to helping build a better Nigeria. More so even at this time where we have the Train 7 project, a laudable project that the whole world is waiting to see materialize. And he has this great mandate before him to ensure the success of that project. So this is the right person to be speaking to us today. With revenue exceeding $90 billion since 1999, the NLNG will easily rank with other FTSE 100 companies. The Financial Times Stock Exchange 100 Index. So the NLNG can actually rank with those companies globally and is being managed to world-class standards. Tony is epitomized by his focus on people and on delivering business value to stakeholders. His personal core values are humility, excellence, integrity, respect for people. He is married with children, and his hobbies are watching soccer, playing golf, and listening to music. We have the right person with us today to discuss very important business strategies for growth, important strategies to help businesses survive through this time. Please join me welcome Engineer Tony Atta, our role model for today's session. You're welcome, sir. We're happy to have you today. Engineer Tony Atta will go through the technical session, and thereafter, we will have an interactive session where we can all ask those pertinent practical questions. You're welcome, sir.
Can you hear me now, Hansen?
Yes, please.
All right, I needed the facilitators to unmute me. First of all, let me thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Thank you, sir. Can we have the video on, please, sir?
I will put it on briefly because I'm managing bandwidth. I think in the end, it may be better to hear me than to see. But just in case, for those who have not met me before, this is how I look now post-COVID.
You look very good with your beards.
Got a new look for COVID. So if you don't mind, I will just rest so we can maximize the opportunity of the bandwidth space.
Okay.
Every time I'm introduced and it comes to that line, say he's married with children, I always tell my team, I say, can you not just include that he's married to one wife with children? It's sometimes very important in our clients, especially when yesterday was my wedding anniversary. So really, really thanks for that introduction. I want to thank the board and CDMB for having me today and giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts. I've heard myself described as the doctor and the over 400 people on this session today as patients. I don't think that necessarily represents it. We're all doctors in our respective rights. It's just opportune that I am the one sharing my own thoughts and my experiences today. Essentially, I looked at the objectives, starting from some of the popular questions that people have asked in previous sessions. You know, how can we survive? How can my business survive? Should I invest in new capacities? Where are the opportunities? What will happen to my people? What will happen to my business? Is cost a factor? And how can we enhance profitability? I know there are so many questions that are already have already been asked, but I will crave your indulgence to say, allow me to tell our story as Nigeria LNG, and then share my own little perspectives based on my journey through leadership track. And between my personal story and the Nigeria LNG story, I hope that I will be able to sort of catalyze and instigate thoughts in your mind that we can really, really talk about during the interactive sessions. So a lot of the questions that you have will be answered during the interactive session. But the objective as defined by the organizers of today would suggest in summary that we want you to become a very strong and viable business. Whatever that means, I think at the back end of this engagement, we will test whether you've been able to be inspired to start to think around the viability and the potency of your business well into the future. I also heard that we would like you to make a difference. Now, what does that mean? When we say we want you to make a difference, what is your purpose? That's going to make a difference to whom? I also heard that we would like you to be a global player. And I like the word play. What exactly are you playing for? Where are you playing? What game are you in? What field are you in? What track are you running at? Are you playing to win? Or are you playing not to lose? And I think those are the kind of thoughts that we will be sharing today. But let me start with Nigeria LNG. As you can see on the top left, we set out our vision unapologetically to be a global LNG company. And let me hold it there. We did not say we want to be a global company. We're very clear as to who we want to be. We want to be an LNG company. Our business is clear. We will stay a core LNG company. That is our ambition. We don't want to be the LNG company of Nigeria or the LNG company of Africa. We want to be a global LNG company so that anywhere you talk about LNG in the world, you will talk about Nigeria LNG, which is no wonder we are number 5 today in the world, number 6 today in the world. But that is not even a position we are excited about, because there was a point where we were top 3. But the world is moving on. And exactly the same situation you are going to find yourself. If you don't respond and if you don't move, you're going to be left behind. We are slipped from top 3 now below top 5. We are now number 6, and we needed to respond. So on the right-hand side of our vision, if you go back to that slide, we want to help to build a better Nigeria. And I really am staying on this so that I don't leave you in doubt as to what our vision and our purpose is. And I want to touch on that when I talk about my own personal story. But we are greatly helped by our shareholders. Now the strength of the so-called LNG model, NLNG model. So we have the number 1 LNG company in the world being Shell as a shareholder, as you can see, the constituent equity holding. We have the number 2 LNG company in the world being a shareholder in Total. We have government represented by NNPC as the single largest shareholder amongst the 4. And of course, we have ENI. This is the constituent of our shareholdership that makes the company. So you need to start to ask yourself now, what is the make of your company and how robust are you? Are you a Tony Atta and Sons and Daughters Nigeria Limited? And how can that constitution help you to play to the global play? How can that make you to be strong and robust in very difficult times that we're going to discuss? So it's important that as we talk about Nigeria LNG, you are introspectively thinking about your company. So that's why I stay here to see the constitution of this company. The number 1 LNG company is a shareholder. The number 2 LNG company in the world is a shareholder. The government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is a shareholder. ENI is a shareholder. And link that to the ambition that we have to say, we want to be a global LNG company and we want to help build a better Nigeria. You will see how all of this come together in the next couple of slides. Next slide. So we have been on a journey, a most amazing journey over the last 30 to 60 years. If you look at the bottom, the left-hand side of it, we say to ourselves that we have now lived in blocks of 30. And in those blocks of 30, the world has evolved, and so have we. If you look at between 1960 and 1989, Nigeria LNG was just a dream. It was just a vision. Our founding fathers believed that a company like this should exist to enhance Nigeria, to utilize Nigeria's great natural resource called gas, which in the 60s, even in the 80s, was seen as a nuisance, was perceived as just a byproduct. But can you imagine our founding fathers keeping the dream alive for 30 years? And that is why till today we are so grateful to them. How many dreams have you had in the last 2 years, and what have you done with them? Within 3-6 months, you discard and move. But think about keeping a dream for 30 years. And now that tests the probabilities of success. What is your staying power? I mean, as a child, if you listen to children talk, that's when you know the power of dreams. So I've watched children a long time ago playing, and I was walking past and a plane was flying overhead. And one child says, see aeroplane. Then the other one say, when I grow up, I want to buy one aeroplane for my mother. Now for me, that's vision. But this was just a 7-year-old saying, I will buy a plane for my mother. Does he even know how much a plane costs? Does he know how a plane flies? Does he know what a plane looks like beyond what he's seen in the sky? But he boldly, without fear at that point, has said to his friends, I will buy a plane for my mother. Now, the question is, by the time that boy or girl is 15, you then ask him, oh, are you still going to buy a plane for your mother? And this is just within 8 years of that bold, audacious statement that I will buy a plane for my mother. And at 15, you now ask the same child, will you buy a plane for your mother? I say, my brother, even to buy a keke napep now, we are not sure yet. What happened to that dream? What is the transitional situation that changes the dream that you have? What has changed the dream that you had when you set up your company to where it is today? So imagine people who have kept the dream alive for 30 years, and we're so grateful to them. But as at 1989, the company then became incorporated with this new shareholdership. Look at the amount of interest early on. Philips, yeah, BP. But in the end, they did not arrive the destination of a company. So we were, after 30 years, constituted as NNPC, Shell, Total, ENI, and incorporated in 1989, started to do real business in 1999. But between 1989 and 2019, that is another block of 30. It is the most important block for us because that is the block of our existence. That is the block where we arrived. We built trains 1, trains 2. Our ambition was to have only 2 trains. Now I talk about ambition a lot because we'll come to it when we start to test why your company is not growing or what you need to do, as you have said, to grow or be more competitive. We started with the best project. Nigeria's ambition for LNG is just to build 2 trains. But by the time we built 1, we built 2, we actually proved that we can build. We proved that we can run. And then the question was, if we can build and we can run the trains, why don't we build more? Then we went on to train 3. And on we built trains 4 and 5 and train 6. To the extent that between 1999 and 2006, we were seen as the fastest growing LNG company in the world. But unfortunately, between 2007 and 2019, something happened. And we just couldn't add another train over more than 15 years window. We couldn't take an FID, we couldn't add another train. And we just stayed there. But the more we stayed, the more the world moved on. That's how we dropped from top 3 to top 5, now as number 6 below. But we have now said, okay, after 30 years of being in existence as a company and 20 years of very responsible operatorship, it's time to make a difference. It's time to grow again. It's time to crack that engine, go back and start a deja vu moment. When we said we want to build 2 trains and ended up with 6, let's reset the baseline and let's grow, starting with what we refer to as train 7. If you look at the train 7 ambition on the right-hand side, we are now looking to the future of another 30 years. Just like our founding fathers laid the foundation for the 1989 to 2019 environment, which we have all enjoyed and we're so proud of as a company and as a nation, it behoved on us as the leaders today to lay the foundation for the next 30 years. And that is what you see as the journey between 2020 to 2050, starting with train 7. I firmly believe that just the same way we said we will build train 1 and 2, ended up building 6 trains. We have now said we will build train 7, which essentially is actually 2 trains in 1, just like train 1 and 2. My ambition and vision for the future is that we'll go to train 8, 9, 10, and hopefully to 15, just to go back to being top 3. But the world is not waiting for you. 2 fundamental things have shifted since we made the decision. The energy transition has kicked in. The energy mix has already come in. Today, there are countries that are already saying that they don't want to see or hear anything about fossil fuel, crude oil, even gas, plus coal, because the world is now positive about the environmental impact of the fossil fuel and the world needs cleaner energy. But we believe firmly that gas will continue to be a dominant player in the energy mix well into the future, looking through the lens of 2020 to 2050. And that has enhanced our ambition to stay core as an LNG company, even though hydrogen has now arrived. And as I said in one other forum, we were in Japan about 3 years ago, and some people came to our stand, Japanese, all of them, 5 of them. And they said to me, oh, you know, in Japan, we don't have any natural resource. But I can tell you that in 20 years' time, we will be driving our cars on water. And we all started laughing. But today, in my mind's eyes, that laughter was a positive exhibition of my ignorance, because what they were trying to say, albeit in poor, sketchy English, was that they are going to drive their cars on hydrogen. And simply hydrogen is hydrogen from water is H2O. If you crack the H from water, you release the oxygen which the world needs, and nothing could be cleaner. So the biggest competition we are going to face well into the future today is the emergence of hydrogen. But I can talk about hydrogen because we still believe that gas will be relevant, especially when you talk about blue and gray hydrogen. But if indeed the world gets to a point where competitively it can produce green hydrogen, then even the gas business has potentially a big challenge ahead and could be at risk. Next slide, please. So we're talking about the transformation, and I just touched on how we have evolved, but looking into the future with the same vision and level of clarity that we have today, we are asking ourselves, okay, the next 30 years, hydrogen is coming to eat your lunch. What are you going to do as Nigeria LNG? How are you going to respond? If you are in coal business today, you are in trouble because the world is moving away from coal. The only thing working for coal today is that it's cheaper than almost any other source. But in terms of the environmental challenge, it is the weakest. We are going into COP26, I believe, and you are going to hear reports around how countries are going to downplay the value of coal. And countries are beginning to switch from coal to gas, which is cheaper, potentially, which is more abundantly available, but most importantly, cleaner than coal. But then the world is saying it's not even clean enough. And that is where the direction is shifting to hydrogen and electricity. Clean electricity through hydro, through wind, through solar, battery technology is arrived. So even for us in a gas business, we're currently challenged. The world is transforming and transitioning in a way. Are you following that? And that is why we say it is a VUCA world where everything today is volatile, is uncertain. The complexity we see today, we've never seen before, but most importantly, the ambiguity that we are all faced with and need to respond or be wiped out will form the buttress of the conversation we are going to have when we start to talk. So it's a VUCA world, but then what are you doing to respond? I've just said a little bit about what we are doing to respond, but in your particular business, where is your destination? As a matter of fact, what journey are you on as a company? What journey are you on as a leader? What journey are you on as a business? What journey are you on as a business leader? What vehicle are you driving? What vehicle is taking you to that destination? As they say, if you don't have any destination, then any location is okay. But where are you taking your business? You know, what will get you there faster? Because when we say the world is ambiguous in VUCA, one of your biggest responses will be agility. How agile are you? How robust is your strategy? But in 20 years, the energy mix will be completely different. Are you in the right business today? If you are just coming, are you coming at the right time or are you coming into the right business? Just imagine being in a tobacco business today. You are in trouble. Even pastors are preaching against tobacco. Doctors are preaching against tobacco. Health people are preaching against tobacco. It's the same way they are preaching against coal and other dirty sources of fuel. So when you say, I want to start a business, what is defining what business you want to start? Is that because you think there's money to be made? Or is that because you have a vision towards a solution to the future? Or is that because Tony Atta has set up a gas company? That's why you want to set it up? What is behind your decision to go into this business? But next slide, please. We have taken a look into the future And before COVID, we sort of refreshed our strategy to say we will remain a core LNG company. We will stay in the gas business. Our bet is on gas. And now that is a stake in the ground that we have made. You are free to make your own stake in the ground. You are free to even critique or criticize our decision. But in the end, it's about looking through the lens of the next 30 years, 2020, 2050. But it's a crystal ball that no one can confirm what will happen. But as they say, to do nothing is worse than doing something and not achieving anything, because you learn. And if you do nothing, you don't learn, but you don't achieve anything. Even sitting still is a risk. So for us, we have put a stake in the ground that we are going to remain an LNG company. We look into the future with the ambition to continue to keep our business safe, or keep it full at all times, but most importantly, to make it grow. Between these three pillars of our strategy will be underpinned by accountability. That is accountability as a business, responsibility as a company, socially, to society, to ourselves, to the world. But most importantly, with disciplined delivery, both internal and external, around compliance, around regulation, around capacity building, capacity development, living in harmony with society. This is just a pictorial view of our strategy. But I would ask most of you in the on this call today, do you have a strategy? What is your strategy? Have you stress tested your strategy? Will this strategy keep you alive for the next 20 years? Will this strategy step up to speak for you when energy transition happens? Will this strategy be something that can galvanize your company? Does your driver know this strategy? And in our case, we have done everything possible to simplify it. And I like that word simplify, because simplification is a strength. So if you come into Nigeria LNG or you meet anybody from Nigeria LNG, please help us test it. Ask them, what is your strategy? And I hope that they are able to say, our strategy is simply to keep it safe, keep it full, make it grow, underpinned by personal accountability and disciplined delivery. Just so if you don't have a strategy yet, it's time to start thinking about what is the strategy that will take you into the future. And that's partly why we share this. Otherwise, it was a debate whether you wanted to share your strategy or not. But this is not about competition. This is about collaboration. And I will say a little bit about collaboration later on. But in terms of what are we doing to stay robust, next slide. We're just showing a few things because we are driven by efficiency. If you are not efficient, you cannot be competitive, simple and short. And competitiveness comes with many shades and colors. But for the purpose of this conversation, we just thought to share one of our key value drivers. The biggest value driver that we have, without a doubt, is safety. And that is why on the left-hand side of our strategy, you saw it there, keep it safe. And it's not debated what we want to keep safe. We want to keep our people safe. We want to keep our communities safe. We want to keep the environment safe. We want to keep our neighbors safe. We want to keep everybody safe. We want to keep the business safe. But that's not enough. If you are not competitive, you will actually have no business left. Think about needing to put your hands in your pocket every time to enhance your business. My brother, my sister, you don't have a business. So competitiveness in our case, we are working with a lot of professionals. And let me repeat that. We are very big. Think about over $1 billion dividends every year to our shareholders, but we still need help. How many times have you gone out as a company to ask for help? Who are you asking for help? And in our case, we have gone out to ask for help for lean tools. We continue to push on continuous improvement. We have actually had to reorganize, realign our business. Please go back. I'm still on efficiency. And we are working in cadence style. But none of these will be useful. Stay on the talent. None of these will be useful without our people. And from very early on, the question was asked, what is our biggest competitive advantage as Nigeria LNG? And without a doubt, we tested it. In the end, it was proven that our biggest opportunity and our biggest competitive edge is our people. So it begs the question, who are the people working for you? Who are the people working with you? You as a business leader, what are you doing to develop them, to help you develop the business? Are you a dictator in your company? Are you the leader for whom everything stops on your table? If you are not around, nobody can take a decision. If you are not around, nobody can sign anything. If you are not around, nobody can make any call. But we just talked about VUCA. In the ambiguous stage, agility, a business opportunity has shown up, but the sole proprietor, the director is not available. We are waiting to hear from you. We can't reach you on phone. Another company has signed and moved on. And then you are upset. Why didn't you sign, Ebere? And Ebere says, the last time I signed, you were not happy with me. So what are you doing to develop your people? And if you look at this statement here, it says talent for the future. And in our case, when we said our ambition today for 2020 to 2050 is to find, develop, and grow the talent for the future. Immediately after I made that statement, somebody asked me, is that talent that we are developing today going to be useful for the future? And at the moment, we are actually transiting our thinking from talent for the future to trying to understand the talent requirement in the future. Now listen to this. Talent for the future versus talent in the future are completely two different statements. And for where we sit, yes, today we are talking about talent for the future, but in reality, the talent we need to be talking about is the talent in the future. What does the future need? What is the future we are seeing? And I put some stake in the ground to say we're going to be a core LNG company. But where is the agility space to pivot if gas changes to hydrogen? Can we retrofit our plants today to produce liquid hydrogen instead of liquid gas? Those are the kind of things that we are playing with. So what is the skill set required for tomorrow? And where are the people? And for those of you who have worked in the industry, when we arrived about 25, 30 years ago, the stars of the time, the talents of that time were people who were analog, pneumatics. Within 10 years, those people could not function anymore because we had gone to distributed control system. In these years, we have started the digital journey. But the world is even moving faster than that. Next slide. So we are in firm belief that the world is about digital, in tune with the future. You have to be ready today, tomorrow. What tools are you deploying? How close are you with technology? And as I said, who is helping you? Do you even know you need help? Or are you a monolith of knowledge, being the superstar of your industry, of your business, of your line? Will you still be the superstar in 5 years' time? But for us, we continue to partner with players that we trust and players that we believe are ahead. See a couple of names there: Shell, McKinsey, our shares, we pull on everyone. Machine learning, predictive analytics, big data, blockchain. Yesterday, I had the opportunity of listening to some friends from Deloitte. I was wowed. Work that requires 10 people and will take them about 5 days. Digitalization will do it in 30 minutes to the best accuracy possible. Human errors are eliminated. So you start to hear that everything is in the cloud. I must say, I'm becoming a dinosaur myself. When my finance director came to me and said, we're exploring the technology to warehouse payroll in the cloud, I had to stop and say, stop first. You can warehouse whatever you like. I bet payroll, let me be seeing my money in my pocket. But that is the mindset of somebody who will be left behind. Today, everything is in the cloud. Everything is digital, paperless, cashless, big data. To the extent that we heard that there will be data robotics. That's robots who will look out for data and make meaning, artificial intelligence. So where are you on the journey to digital, which represents tomorrow? Look at surveillance technology. Drones are in the air. In the past, even in the oil industry, we physically put people carrying sticks, walking around, marshalling, looking after the pipelines. Look at the pipeline network we have today, more than 6,000 kilometers. How many people do you need to look at it? But in reality, one drone will overfly all your 6,000 kilometer network in less than 3 hours and send you report, clear, crystal, top quality reports, unambiguous with geo-reference locations. So that is the world we live in. Now, the picture you see these colleagues looking at represents everything that is happening in my plant. And I have it on my iPhone. I have it on my phone. It can be any phone. Anywhere I am in the world, I can click and say, what is happening in Bonny? And I can see, and based on my experience as a production engineer myself, I can call my GM production and say, hey, Laye, look at the top left of your dashboard. What is going on there? Are you looking at it? And we can have a quick conversation. And maybe in New York, it doesn't matter. But that is the new world. So my question for you is, are you ready? Are you doing anything to be ready? Will you and your business be relevant in the next 5 years, talk less of the next 30 years? So I put this up front just to show you some of our thoughts, but most importantly, to let you know that we are currently thinking about building the NLNG of the future and working the talent in the future, which is about identifying the talent requirement for the future. But overall, we have been on a transformational journey. Next slide, please. Between 2016 and 2019, we don't say much about 2020 because essentially 2020 was defined by COVID. We all pushed the reset button. After that, we pushed our ambition to the extent that we saw very positive results. In country, we were declared the company of decade, company of the year, co-company of the year 2019. But globally, we were also recognized with a World LNG Award. Between that, test it against our vision of being an LNG global player on the left-hand side, when we go to the next part of my presentation. How ready are you yourself as a leader? How ready is your business? So I'll just say a little bit about how we are helping to build a better Nigeria. We are a gas business, unapologetically, as I've said, but one key area where I personally get emotional is when you know that across the world, more than 1.5 million people die every year from smoke inhalation. And that is simply, next slide, just trying to put food on the table. Mostly women and children die from indoor smoke inhalation. Now, that is a narrative that at Nigeria LNG we like to change, especially when you realize that in Nigeria, that number is about 100,000 people. Unimaginable, but it is real. So today, if you look at COVID data, I'm not saying we should jeopardize ourselves on COVID or trivialize COVID, but with the emergency nature we are pushed on ensuring that people are safe from COVID, we are lucky, we are blessed that less than 3,000 people have died. Irrespective of COVID, that year, 100,000 women and children died in Nigeria, not spoken about, from smoke inhalation because they are using the wrong type of fuel to cook. Just trying to put on, no one deserves to die. And that is why Nigeria LNG, as part of helping to build a better Nigeria, we are bringing domestic LPG into country. When we came into this fair in 2007 by 80%, but we had to grow the market to the extent that our share level was diluted. Today we are about 40%. Last year we brought more than 370,000 tons of LPG, essentially almost every butane that we produced in LNG we brought into country. But we don't think that is enough. We are working to bring LNG into country. It has been a long journey coming, just ensuring that the infrastructure base is there. But we want to drive gas so that the undesired index of 100,000 women and children dying because they inhale smoke just trying to put food on the table will be something of the past. We believe that gas is safer. We believe that gas is cleaner. It is actually affordable, but most importantly, it is available in Nigeria. Nigeria is actually a gas nation today, with over 200 TCF of gas proven and another 600 potential to be proven. At number 9, we can easily become number 4 once we prove the 600 TCF. And that, for me, is the biggest contribution I believe we are making to Nigeria, bringing energy into country. But on the bottom left-hand side there, you can see that is the Bonny border. We are partnering with the Federal Ministry of Works to connect Bonny Island to Port Harcourt in Rivers State for the first time. And that is going to open up the economy, going to open the Nigeria, most importantly concerned to our going to prove that it is possible when we set our minds to it. Now, this project is 50% complete. The area you can go to Harcourt through and see that more than 6 kilometers of the road is asphalted. More than 20 kilometers is actually motorable already, and we believe that by next year this road will be fully completed and commissioned to enhance the quality of lives of the people and take away the risks on the waterways. We hear all sorts of gory stories about piracy attacks, robberies, and all sorts of terrible stories you don't want to talk about. This road, we believe, will save lives, will change the trajectory of Bonny and Bodo, and will reset the baseline for our communities and make a difference. We have Bonny Vocational Center, and I really want to be very deliberate about this, because when we talk about skill set, growing capacity, I really want to invite you to explore training your people at our Bonny Vocational Center BVC, in tune with technology, in tune with industry, but most importantly, taking advantage of what already exists. This may not be very obvious to all of you. But I go to our growth plan for the future. Our plan, as I said, is consistent with our belief, next slide please, on the energy transition and the relevance of gas in the changing energy mix. Yes, I touched on hydrogen, but we believe that gas will continue to be relevant. And that is why we push so seriously to get the final investment decision, FID, for Train 7. And Train 7 will move our capacity from 22 million tons to 30 million tons, which essentially is about a 35% growth in capacity. Listen to this. We are adding about 35% capacity today. It sounds very big. It sounds very ambitious. It sounded very fantastic. It was something we were so proud of. But as I said, if you do nothing, you're going to be left behind. Just when we announced, and thought this was an ambition, Qatar, which was number 1 and has dropped to number 2, made a similar announcement. Qatar, at 77 million tons per annum today, wants to add 30 million tons. Listen to this. They are 77 million tons. We are 22. We want to add 8 to go to 30. And we're very excited. They want to add 30. So our ultimate destination after Train 7 is incremental to Qatar. But for the volume of gas resource that we have in Nigeria, that suddenly woke us to the reality that even Train 7 is no longer ambitious. And we need to do more. And that's why we are revving the engine and cranking more cylinders to say, let's start to talk about Train 8. Let's start to dream about Train 9. Let's start to push and put a stake in the ground for the future of Train 8, 9, 10, even up to 15. Just like the little boy who says, when I grow up, I will buy an aeroplane for my mother. Do I know how we are going to deliver Train 15? I don't. Will I be here when Nigeria LNG delivers Train 15? Most probably not. Go back to the journey of our founding fathers. If they had said, oh, we will dream only when we are able to build it, there will be no NLNG today. But it's someone's job to envision. It's someone's job to put a stake in the ground. It's someone's job to be audacious and ambitious about what tomorrow can represent. We believe that 7 and 8 represented a robust tomorrow for us, but Qatar woke us to the reality that that tomorrow will not be big enough. That tomorrow will not be good enough, not for a country that has over 200 TCF of gas with ambition for another 600 TCF. So we have everything we need. Think about a country like Egypt. The Egypt LNG, they shut down for 2 years because they ran out of gas. But today they have found gas offshore and their plant is back. We don't have that issue. So you have to beg the question, what is stopping us? And think about a future of Nigeria. Think about the future of the Niger Delta if we maximize this resource that God has given us called gas. On the back of just Train 7, we have potential for almost $10 billion investment coming into country with opportunity for more than 10,000 jobs. And I'm really emphatic on 10,000 jobs. If you follow the amnesty program that has brought relative peace to the Niger Delta, that program was really just about less than 40,000 people who gamefully started to get their dignity back. And for me, the Niger Delta question is about unemployment and poverty. Unfortunately, that is quickly becoming the Nigerian question today, with unemployment at almost 25%, underemployment at about 30%, so more than 50% either underemployed or unemployed. The Nigerian question is fast lining up with the Niger Delta question of poverty or unemployment. And we believe that anyone you get rid of, you achieve a major reset in the ecosystem and society starts to breathe and survive. And everything you hear about security and issues today disappear. So think about more than 10,000 jobs from one project. When the entire Niger Delta attained peace by just 35,000, 40,000 people being put to positive use in terms of skills acquisition, in terms of capacity building, reorientation of the mindset, but most importantly, as I say, restoring their dignity through the amnesty program. Think about how many families dignity will be restored just because Nigeria LNG has signed up to Train 7. Think about Train 7 project that will be on for another 5 years. Think about Train 8, 9, and 10 that potentially can follow. Think about being gainfully employed for 10, 15 years on the back of just this ambition of our growth plan. And that is what we are about at Nigeria LNG when we say our vision is helping to build a better Nigeria. So I put something there around local content associated with the project. And this is for you to start to self-calibrate to say, where can we participate? Where can we play? I would imagine that will come up quite topically when we engage. But essentially, construction has to be 100% on site. Valves, if you manufacture, if you buy, furniture, 100% Nigeria. Anything that can be made in Nigeria, you have almost first right. But it is not a right to bring poor quality to me. It is not a right to bring non-competitive costs to me. It is not a right to say, because I'm a Nigerian, you must do business with me. We don't owe you that. You have to be competitive. I have a choice as a company. And if you have read the act itself, a lot of people call me and say, oh, the act says 30% of your business must be given to me. I've spoken to the board, I've spoken to the executive secretary, he signed a personal copy for me of the act itself, he's translated and interpreted the act. We know what the act has said. And please, before you argue, go and read the act. Read the act against the backdrop of the opportunities that will come from Train 7. And maybe you will be better enlightened, but most importantly, you will be able to position yourself and your company to play. And I use the word play quite deliberately because I'd asked you the question earlier on, what are you playing for? Are you playing to win or are you playing not to lose? Matter of fact, what game are you playing at? What pitch are you on? Are you center court? Are you center stage? Or are you sideline? It doesn't matter where you are. What is important is that you know where you are and start to make the best of that. Okay? So I will hold it here with respect to Nigeria LNG. And I've been asked to touch on leadership a little bit so that we can, again, parley and engage and share based on experience. I have about 25, 30 years experience. I've seen some very seniors of mine on the call. Potentially, if you sum up the total experiences of the over 400, almost 500 people on this call today, you have more than 500,000 years of experience. So I believe we can share and engage. So next slide will be a little bit about leadership and success doesn't necessarily confirm that I'm successful, but it is begging the question whether you can succeed without leadership, or most importantly, whether your business can succeed without leadership. We touched on talents. Leadership is not about one person. Leadership, the way I understand it, is a relationship between the leader and the led, but recognizing that I may be leading tomorrow, depending on what's in play tomorrow, I could be the led. And just exercising the understanding that leadership is a transition. But most importantly, the best leadership definition that I have read in my time simply says leadership is what is happening in your business when you are not there. Very layman definition, very apt in my view, and I really invite you to test it. What is happening in your business, to your business, when you are not there? That simply defines your leadership. If the business comes to a halt when you are not there, that's the index of your leadership. If the business can run with or without you, that is indexing your leadership. But the conversation is around, can you succeed as a business without the right leadership? To just showcase my journey, I think Hansen did very well to just say that I've been in the industry more than 25 years, and I really like it, because if you say I've been in the industry for 30 years, it starts to feel like a dinosaur of some sort. But I've been blessed in my in my career. I've been very lucky. I must say, in hindsight, some of my mentees even called me and said to me, I want you to just guide me in terms of how I can traverse my journey and get to the top. I always ask them back that, first of all, you believe that I am at the top. What is the top? Is there only one top? I live a life of peak and valley. If you get to the top, you look for the next peak. If you're in the valley, you climb out. And that is one of the key drivers that I have lived on. So this looks like a journey of success, because on the back of it would actually sit a lot of failures, missed opportunities, bruises, fall, stand, and continue. Continue is the active word. Never stopping, never giving up, but to keep going. So, graduate of mechanical engineering, University of Ibadan, great school. Been there last 2 years. Please go back to your alma mater if you have not done so. Some of you will be embarrassed, but going back to UI, I was very happy, to the extent that some of my former classmates actually had to do things. I think I saw Ludwig on the call, was my classmate. 1988, Maiduguri. A few people said to me, why Maiduguri? I said, why not? Which is why, as a Nigerian today, when I read about the things happening in the Northeast, my heart bleeds. Areas where I enjoyed my life, formative years for me, defined me as a person, helped me to understand that part of Nigeria, that part of the world culture. And I really believe in this country, Nigeria. I believe in the NYC program, and I encourage all my children to do it. My career started in the manufacturing sector, in the cement company. So imagine youth corps in the Northeast, first job in the Northwest, university down south, grew up in Kaduna and Lagos. So this is my country. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my story. I joined Shell in 91, and you can read the journey. Biggest opportunity I've ever had in my life has been offered to me by Shell. Walked around the world, Russia, Netherlands, the UK, but most important, in Nigeria, as you see. But let's go to Nigeria LNG, where we are now at the helm of affairs, trying to make a difference. We touched on the company itself. I think in the end, you will find out that this was opportunistic. The opportunity is before everyone, but the conversation is what you do with the opportunity. When the opportunity shows up, do you recognize it? Even being on this call today, do you recognize the opportunity, all the opportunities that are available on this call? I've seen some people already taking advantage. Say, my name is Tony Atta. I deliver ABC. If you do the same, please connect me on LinkedIn. I've taken advantage because there are 500 potential networks that we are engaging with today. Where is my market? Who is my next business partner? Who am I to collaborate with next? How do I know them? If I wait in my home, no one comes to me. But here is an opportunity. And I think for me, it's just asking yourself, if opportunity shows itself, will you recognize it? And I think that is underpinned by knowing who you are. Next slide. So we ask the question, who are you? You know, who are you? Have you ever looked in the mirror and asked your question, who is this? Who am I looking at? Quite frankly, if you have never done it before, it's quite uncomfortable, but I encourage you to do it. In your privacy, look in the mirror and ask yourself the question, who am I looking at? Who is this guy? Who is this girl? Is this a tiger? Is this a lion? Is this a hyena? Is this a cat? Is this a winner? Or is this just another person? Who are you? You know, what have you been through? What do you know? What do you have in your toolkit? What do you want to achieve? What are you playing for? Are you playing to win? Are you playing not to lose? Are you risk averse? Are you too risky yourself? Are you reckless? What have you been through? You know, so I encourage you to start from the inside. Self-reflect. If you've never done it before, take a look in the mirror in your privacy and just stay on it. Don't stay too long. Give it 5 minutes and just look at who you are seeing in that mirror. Ask them who they are and just see what comes out. You have to dig deeper than what you currently have today. You have to really, really self-prospectively touch on what is my strength and what have I been using. You must play to your strength. As my coach will say, there's no point, as they say, trying to improve my weakness. A lot of my mentees will come to me, so how do I improve my weakness? My response is brutal and harsh. I say, improve your weakness to achieve what? Why do you want to improve your weakness? It's already a weakness. Tell me about your strength that you want to enhance to go to stardom. You cannot build 5%. You can build 10%. Why am I worried about 5%? I can find a partner who will help me bridge 5%. I can buy in technology that will help me bridge that 5%. I can invite a specialist on a call-off basis to sort out that 5%, but I build on my strength to be more resilient, to be solid, and to be able to compete. You cannot compete on the back of your weakness. You can only compete on the back of your strength. So what are your strengths as a company? What is your competitive edge as a company? That is why I say, please start from the inside. Do this test at home. But are you really an entrepreneur? Next slide. I've heard the MC say, oh, we are entrepreneurs here. You need to know if you are an entrepreneur. Next slide. And ask yourself, what is driving you? Are you an entrepreneur? Somebody has come to me and said, oh, you know, and you can speak to us. I said, no, you, I am I don't have the, but I am an entrepreneur. I take all my business risks. I take all my business decisions. I put my strength within an entity. Entrepreneurs holding you back to make the move, to shoot for the skies, to shoot first before aiming, to take the risk, to fail many times, to fail forward, to fail and go. To take the risk is the mindset of an entrepreneur. But are you driving from the standpoint of passion or convenience? Is it based on belief? Why are you in this industry today? Why are you running the business you are running? Is that because you believe this business will bring money, or you believe that you are going to make a difference to humanity, or you believe that you are going to bring a solution to the world. Why are you in the business you are in? Somebody say, oh, I manufacture pure water. Why are you manufacturing pure water? Oh, my friend told me that it's a booming business. The day it stops booming, what are you going to do? And I think that those are the kind of questions we need to ask ourselves. So you need to actually x-ray your business again. X-ray yourself as the business leader or owner. X-ray your business in the context of who you are, what the business is, what is the vision of the company, what exactly is the business supposed to achieve, what is the purpose, what is your purpose as a person, what is the purpose of your company, and what is the future. But VUCA arrives, how resilient are you to survive? Will you still be here or will you be wiped out? But I always like to do just like a little bit. I just want you within 2 minutes, maybe you can chat along. If you get a phone call from heaven, irrespective of what you believe, but please believe that the call is real, and you are told that you have only left live, after which we'll be talking about your obedience. People talk about death. People don't like to write their will. People don't want to believe they will die. You will die. I will die. But please, next slide. If you only have 5 minutes left to live, what are the 3 things you will miss? I'd like to see your chart. Please let me know. What are the 3 things you will miss if you have only 5 minutes left? 5 minutes. As the clock is winding down, you are taking your last breath. On the dot of 00, your own clock on earth will reset. What are the 3 things you are going to miss? Somebody is going to miss premiership. Somebody is going to miss his family and friends. Somebody is going to miss love. Somebody is going to miss my family. I see my family. Somebody is going to miss, family, family, family. If we run a word cloud on this, it looks like family and friends. It looks like friends. It looks like family. It looks like family. It looks like... Why are you not going to miss your Range Rover? Why are you not going to miss your big house? Hello? Nobody is telling me they will miss their big fat account in GTB, Access Bank, First Bank. Why is nobody telling me they're going to miss the whiskey they love? What is this? Why is it just family and friends you are missing? What about that money? So the question is, what is driving you? People are driving every day. People spend more time thinking about money. But here we are, simple test. If you have only 5 minutes left, what are you going to miss? I've not seen one person say, I'm going to miss my money. So next slide, please. Thank you very much for those who have contributed. You've just helped the conversation to change gear, to take a new level. I'm going to miss my husband, his family. I'm going to miss my friend. I'm going to miss my vision. What is that vision? But the question is, let's flip the question a little bit. I said, what will you miss? And it's based on what cloud and a quick scan looks like family, looks like friends, look like humanity. I will miss being alive. I will miss my colleagues. Congratulations, you have solid colleagues. I have somebody who says, I won't miss my company. Talk less of miss my colleagues, but I'm glad to see one. But let's flip the question a little bit. You have told us what you will miss. Those of us who remain on earth, after you have gone, your 5 minutes is over. You are dead. We are thinking of how to bury you. What will we miss? Next slide. What will we miss? What will we miss? Ladies and gentlemen, go back, please. I'm happy to see what you will miss, but you are gone, so it's immaterial. But those of us who are here, what we will miss is my simplistic definition of your purpose on earth. So if you vanish in 5 minutes, what will the world miss? That is your purpose. I'm not saying tell me today. If your company disappears tomorrow, what will the world miss? That is the purpose of your company. What will Nigeria miss if you disappear? That is your purpose. So, what do you want to achieve? I hope by now, defining who you are, introspectively testing your person, your ambition, what you will miss, what we will miss. I hope you are on a journey with me as to being able to self-calibrate and rethink, am I in the right business? Do I know my purpose? Is my purpose right? What track am I running on? What race am I running? What did I come to this world to do? What did I set this business up to deliver? And to whom? What was Mandela's purpose? It was a life of selfless survival of humanity, of his own race, of his own people. Ordinary COVID locked you out for 1 month. The entire country was screaming. A man was locked out for more than 27 years of his life, singularly, for his people. Think about his purpose. Think about a guy like Steve Jobs. If he didn't give you the iPhone, what will happen? Think about a guy called Captain Sullenberger. If you search him up, talk about the Hudson Bay plane landing. This was a pilot, took off from LaGuardia and had an issue. More than 150 people. He looked behind and says, the lives of these people are in my hands. What do I do? I've got to do something. Thank God he landed the plane without any engine running in the Hudson Bay River, and everyone survived. When they asked him, what was your purpose? He said, I never knew my purpose until I came out and everyone came out and I was watching the news. And that's the first time it occurred to me that perhaps all my life I was born for just this one event. That is my purpose. So what is your purpose? If you've never thought of it, please, this is the opportunity to dig deep and think about your purpose. Next slide, please. And I'd like you to link your purpose to what problem are you solving? What solution are you bringing to the world? What solution are you bringing to humanity? What solution are you bringing to the industry? What solution are you bringing to your own business sector? Why are you in that business? Next slide. And I'd like to talk about this guy. This guy today is 98. He's a 98-year-old Nobel laureate. If you don't know him, please, I encourage you to research him over the weekend. Just spend 15, 20 minutes on this guy. You'll find him amazing. He won a Nobel Prize, a chemist. But this is the guy for whose work we are enjoying, part of what we are enjoying today. This guy discovered the lithium-ion battery. Are we together? The lithium-ion battery is the only reason why you can recharge a battery. Your phone can be charged. Your computer can be charged. Things can be charged. Your iPhone can be charged. Your microphone charged. Charging of battery was because of this man's work. If this man did not exist, think about where the world will be today. His purpose is very clear. It's not debatable. The man is still working. As we speak, at 98, he's still working. Somebody says, oh, I'm already 50. I'm thinking of retirement. Retirement for what? What more can you bring to humanity? What more can you bring to the world? This guy is now reviewing his work, going beyond solid state technology to nanotechnology, to the extent that he's about to launch something with his students that instead of battery running out, your battery will be running up together. So you charge your phone, think about you charge your phone only once. And for the next 6 months, you don't need to charge your phone again. Can you imagine a world where you don't need to charge your phone or charge your iPad or charge your laptop? It's full. Instead of decaying, it's growing in strength. Now that's what somebody is spending his time thinking about. But you will not appreciate where this hits home until you link it to Tesla. Tesla is an electric battery powered car And when he started, we said, oh, you can only drive 100 kilometers before needing to recharge. Today, Tesla can go 300 kilometers. Think about the work of John Goodenough becoming good enough for Tesla car's battery to not need any charging. I would buy a Tesla car, drive from Lagos to Maiduguri to Bayelsa, connect Sokoto from there, go to Niger, come back. I don't need to recharge. Hello, your world has just changed. Think about the purpose of this scientist, a great guy. And I really, really want to share these three people. Mandela was one of them, but you already know the man. Next slide, please. Lithium-ion battery technology, going nanotech based, beyond solid state. Not many of you know Tim Berners-Lee. He is the godfather of World Wide Web. When you hear www.anything, this is the guy. This is the inventor of the World Wide Web. The world became a small village because of that web. Think about our life in 1975 when we did not have the World Wide Web. Think about where technology is today and where technology would be if Tim Berners-Lee didn't offer us this. Think about his purpose in life. Think about how he has impacted humanity. Let it not be that we're just talking technology, technology. Next slide. Look at this lady. I bet not many of you, next slide, not many of you know this lady. This is Agnes Boja. Can't pronounce the name fully. This woman lived a life of total selfless service. A lot of people thought she was Indian. Even I thought she was Indian. Just click next and you see who she is. She is called Mother Teresa, mother to many, mother to the helpless, mother to the poor. Not even the poor. She says, I am mother to the poorest of the poor. Took it a new level. Think about her life. Think about a woman who does not have a single money in her own account for herself. For you, for us, a mother. Mobutu, his country, said, don't bring his corpse near us. That's why Morocco. What are you giving to humanity? What are you giving to humanity? So that's why we ask the question today, what problem are you solving? What value are you bringing to life? When you are no longer here, what will we remember? What will we miss? What is your purpose? What is the purpose of your company? So in terms of what problem are you solving, everybody has been talking about problem in Nigeria, problem. Not many of us are talking solution. Are you seeing value in the solution space of Nigeria's problem today? Today we are talking about security. Can you come up with something that helps us identify bad people from good people? Can you come up with something that we press a button and the net catches all the bad people? What are you thinking about? We're all talking about the problem. Where will the solution come from? It is that solution that becomes value. It is that solution that becomes purpose. It is that solution that differentiates you from the next party. It is that solution that gives your company the competitive edge. Somebody say, oh, the dollar is falling. Naira is falling against the dollar. Ask Innocent. Innocent is saying, my cars are in Naira. I've brought you a solution. I don't think about the dollar. So please, if you don't have the dollar to import your Toyota, your BMW, Mercedes, come and buy my Innocent. I have a solution for you. I'm not going to be surprised if Innocent vehicles become the sole vehicles in Nigeria in the next 5-10 years, depending on the trajectory our economy is taking. Today, the biggest challenge is people struggle to feed. What are you doing about that? Now look at this man at the bottom. It's not a mistake that he is into cement. He saw the gap at the time. We talk about development. You cannot develop without cement, sand, and iron and steel. And he says, okay, I will take care of the cement side. Yes, some people challenge him as monopolistic, but he's offering solution. Pick your own monopoly, create your own monopoly. He went into sugar, he went into flour, he went into noodles, he made juice, he set up a farm. But then he saw an even bigger opening and said, okay, we are importing petrol, we are importing this. The man sets up a refinery, 650,000 barrels a day refinery, That's going to be the biggest single train refinery in the world. A lot of us technocrats criticize him, say, what kind of man is this? How can you put all your eggs in one basket? Why didn't you build like 3 trains of 200 and start with 200, then the next 200? The man says, I don't have that time. How bold are you as a business leader? What is driving you? If you're an entrepreneur, how much risk can you take? Can you take the kind of risk he has taken at the point he was building it? A lot of us were criticizing him. You go towards Lekki Ajah today, the refinery is taking shape. The future of Nigeria and Nigeria's refining product challenge is about to change. His business grows, his fortunes grow. And we're all saying, oh, why is he monopolizing? He's taking a risk. Are you ready and able to take the same kind of risk in your business space? Are you able to move? Just like that child say, I'll buy an aeroplane for my mother. What statements are you making and what are you using to back it? Can you become the monopoly of your sector? What will it take? This is what we're talking about. And that's why we ask the question, next slide, what will it take for you to succeed? What will it take for you to succeed? Maybe you are already successful. Are you satisfied if you are already successful? Like I said to you, Qatar with 77 million tons was #1 for a long time. But then with the shale revolution in the United States arrived. Australia arrived. Qatar is #2, threatened to go to #3 if all the FIDs in the US took place last year, but for COVID, Qatar will be #3 today. Today, Qatar is #2. But Qatar responded to say, we're not happy. Yes, we are successful, but we're not satisfied. So what will it take to succeed? What will it take your business to go to the next multiple levels? What will it take for your business to go global? What will it take for your business to be competitive and to be differentiated? Now, that's the question we're going to be engaging on when we finish in the next 5 minutes. But there are some critical success factors that I just want to share with you. Nothing is new. Most of it, please, next slide. But just to highlight them so that when we start to engage, we hope that we can touch on some of them. I think in today's reality, one of the biggest opportunities that we are not deployed in Nigeria is partnership. Partnership. Collaboration is not happening enough. Partnerships are not happening. That's why today we cannot grow. Your business cannot grow without the right partners. Your business cannot grow without the right complementary set of skills. Your business cannot grow without right talent. Your staff, your people are partners to your company. You are collaborating with them, but that's not what I'm talking about. Company to company, businessman to businesswoman partnership, businesswoman to businesswoman. Partnership is the future, but we are not enhancing or using that at all. But I can understand that a lot of it is underpinned by the trust deficit in our society. But there are a lot of instruments to bridge on trust. Why don't you tighten the partnership on the back of legal documentation, proper documentation, clarity on what you both want to achieve? Find people who share the vision with you. Find people who have similar purpose as you. Find people who have maybe not quite similar, but complementary. Come together. Give us something. When you hear Microsoft, you think it's just Bill Gates. No, it's not just him. When you hear Apple, the biggest company today by share capital, you think it's just Steve Jobs. It's not just him. It's not just him. You hear Alphabet, you think it's just those three. It's not just them. It's partnership and collaboration that have created these entities. But the bane of Nigeria's business is because we all want to be sole proprietor and son limited. What if you don't have a son? I've hardly seen any and daughters limited. But we like to see companies grow beyond limitations of limited to being publicly quoted, to creating value, to enhancing the economy, to making a difference. Inspire yourself to be bigger, inspire your company to be bigger. But most importantly, I hope if you got nothing from this last 45 minutes, you are going to aspire from now onward for your business to be bigger than you've ever imagined it to be. Go back to your dreams. Go back to the dream of that 7-year-old boy with the plane flying overhead that says, I would buy that plane for my mother when I grow up. Oga, madam, now you have grown up. Where is the plane? Where is that ambition you had when you set up this company? What is holding you back? Where is your leadership bite and power to make a difference, to ride it? What help did you ever think or believe that you could achieve it on your own? Where are your partners? Who are going to be your next collaborators? And I think those are the kind of questions you need to ask yourself. What is the next stage? What field am I going to play? I want to play to win, not play not to lose, which has held a lot of businesses down. How much risk can you take? I told you of one man now, Aliko, who said, forget my Indomie, forget my noodle, forget my sugar, forget my cement. The next opportunity I see is in the petroleum space. I want to take over the entire West Africa. I want to feed the over 40, 50 million demand per day of petrol in Nigeria. I say, oh, but we have refineries. I know about that. My refinery will be the biggest in the world. My refinery will be the best in Africa. My refinery will take care of the entire West African coast. I don't want to supply the entire world. I just want a niche. What is your niche? What is the niche of your business? And ladies and gentlemen, next slide. That's partly why we say talent is no longer enough. You need a lot of ambition and chutzpah. If you're South African, you understand chutzpah. It comes from deep within to say, this is what I want to do, and nothing's going to stop me. You can hold me down, but you cannot stop me. I will free myself. I will take that risk. It's always a calculated risk, but I will take it no matter what. But yeah, I've seen a text say, oh, you talk as if it's all about success. Next slide. Indeed, on the back of every success, there will be many failures. If Apple tells you how many innovative works they discarded before they came up with the iPod, one iPod that says 100,000 music in your pocket. Think about what happened to Sony from their cassette player that you carry on your head to more than 100,000 music on your iPod in your pocket, to more than 1 billion songs in the cloud today. The world is moving on. But I talk about success because that's my ambition. But indeed, you will have to deal with failures. You will have to deal with errors. You will have to deal with challenges. As you see the pictures, even champions get knocked down. But what happens, like you saw in the case of AJ, is say, I will be back. But is it just about saying I will be back? It's about putting in what it will take. He went back to first principles. He went back to the gym. He reset the baseline. He re-strategized and came back and won his titles back. And that's why he's today the world champion. And even on the back of failure, he was only known as world champion before. Today he's known as two-time world champion because he's lost it before and gained it back. There is value in failure. Ladies and gentlemen, you learn. Next slide. As they say, I love this quotation, I believe is credited to the Chinese. They say, fall 7 times. So it doesn't matter how many times you fall or fail. What matters is that you get up and you keep going and you reevaluate what you want to achieve and you make for it. So fall 7, stand up 7, stand up 8. And as I said, my life personally is about peaks and valleys. There are times where I'm on the peak. When I'm on the peak of whatever I'm pushing for, I'm not standing there. I'm looking for the next peak. There are times when I'm in the valley. When I'm in the valley, the only thing on my mind is I have to climb out of this valley to the peak. And I'll get to that peak, look for another peak. You find yourself in the valley, the only way is out. It can't be worse than the valley unless you want to dig yourself further. So fall 7, stand 8, fail early, fail fast, fail forward. Fail forward means you learn. I have a friend who was a PhD student when we were first degree students and invited us to his dissertation presentation. Spent more than 2 years on that work. And unfortunately, what he set out to achieve, he couldn't achieve. But he went ahead and gave a presentation for almost 1.5 hours of the work. And in the end, he said, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I've spent 2 years on this research with the initial ambition to achieve this and that and that. But painfully, most unfortunately, I have to let you know today, talking to the panelists who will award him a PhD, that we failed to achieve what we set out to achieve. We could not get the result we were looking for. We could not get the result we had hoped to get. But one thing I can assure you is that we have found more than 800 ways of not to do it. So whoever will take this work from me already knows that there's no point looking at this 800. Start from my 800. Find a way. Take one. Fly over the wall. What is blocking you? Go under it. Drill through it. Go around it. There is a way. What is missing is that you are yet to find it. I really must invite you to stay strong, stay positive at all times. But just take a look at the next slide. And just by 2007, even in Nigeria, these companies did not exist. Today, you want to fly, you are talking just of two airlines, his Air Peace, Arik, okay, there are a few new ones coming, Air Nigeria and the likes. But Air Peace did not exist 2007. Then someone says to me, oh, Alain Onyema is so rich, he's so this. The man found a problem that needed solution and said, I will set up an airline. I'm not sure he knew what it would take at the time, but he did. Look at the Paystack boys. I don't know where they were, but somewhere in Lagos, young boys doing their thing, leaning on their strength, developed this and got bought out at over 200 million. Nobody saw their sweat. All of us read about 200 million and suddenly we all want to be the next Paystack. What solution are you bringing? What problem are you solving? Look at Jumia Konga. My wife wanted to buy something just 3 weeks ago and was really complaining. Oh, you know, I really don't feel like going out. I don't know what to do. I said, what do you mean you don't know what to do? Give them a call. Let them show you the picture of what you want to buy. Agree the price. Get someone via Uber to deliver it to you. Transfer the money. The world has changed from the comfort of our bedroom. She transacted, bought what she wanted. Within 3 hours, it was delivered to the house. I got a kiss for that. In my case, I brought the idea, but the solution was always there. So what solution are you bringing to what problem? Look at Seplat. I really must touch on Seplat. Seplat is one of the biggest collaboration today. It's actually two companies in one. Today, they still exist as two individual companies. Platform is the plat that you see there. Sheba is the SE that you see there. But when the chips are down, the two leaders got together and say, you know what, I am Platform, you're Sheba. For what we are both looking at, individually, we can't get it. If Platform was to bid for those OMLs today on our own, she can't achieve it. If Sheba was to try, he would die trying, he would be swallowed. They say, but let's come together. Let us collaborate. Let us pull our strength together and jointly go for it. And they created Seplat as an entity, properly constituted, legally covered, everyone protected, trust deficit discarded, and they launched for this field. And today, Seplat is publicly quoted in the London Stock Exchange, one of the biggest indigenous companies in Nigeria today. There are a few others and there are others coming. Now think about that for once as the power of collaboration or the power of partnership. And somebody say, oh, I can't trust anyone. I'm not asking you to trust anyone. I'm asking your lawyers to define how that trust will be managed. What is stopping you from becoming that next success story? The NCDMB today is a platform that has brought multiple open fields for Nigerians. If the executive secretary was to speak, he will tell you that in his time at Shell, almost every design was done overseas. Today, on the back of the board, every design has to be done here. What part of that are you contributing to? What part of the value chain are you harnessing? Somebody came to me and said, oh, I'm in oil and gas. I said, what part of it? He said, everything. I said, only you? Then you have spread yourself, you would have spread yourself too tiny to be able to make any impact. Focus on one area, cut yourself a niche, tie it to your strength, and be ambitious and go for it. That's what we're talking about. will you be that next success story as a business leader? Will your company be that next success story as an entity? That is what we are asking about. Next slide, and I'm about to close. And we say, if you want to eat omelette, you must break that egg. Somebody say, oh, this egg is so beautiful. Look at it. I just love it. It's tender, it's this. But you want to eat omelette? You got to break that egg. And that's what we're about today. And that's what I want the next part of this conversation to be about. I must say, based on next slide, success will not come to you. You must go for it. You must differentiate as a business. You must differentiate as a business leader. Next slide, please. You have to go for it. You have to go to success, but success is waiting. It will not come to you. Please jump out of the crowd. Your time is now. And I really, really, really must thank the NCDMB for giving me this opportunity to share with 500 of you this morning, and hope that in my own little way, I've been able to stimulate or inspire you to really, really be that next business leader, be that next business entity that will make a difference to Nigeria, that will go global, that will go big, but most importantly, will be purposeful. Thank you all for listening. You've been very kind and generous with your time. I hope that we go to the next level of Q&A and we can interact more on the back of what I've said, but most importantly, on the back of what is on your mind. Thank you very much. Let me hand it back to you, Hansen. Thanks.
Wow. Wow, what can we say? Was phenomenal. In fact, the reactions are out there for you, sir. You have a standing ovation. You know, if we could stand, we'll stand. The reactions are all pouring out. And the feedback from the participants have been very positive, showing that they've had a wonderful time. You know, this session was supposed to be for 45 minutes, but you went over an hour, and it was as though it was just for 15 minutes. This is something we would have in a business school, a 1-year engagement in Stanford Business School, and you have given it to us in less than an hour. We have been able, in an hour plus, we've been able to get what ordinarily you will have in Stanford Business School and the renowned business school, Lagos Business School, in a year. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. This was mind-boggling. It was inspiring. And I know that we'll have the slides shared and even the recording, so that we can still go back and listen to this over and over again. This is a pitch, this is a presentation that we should all listen to over and over and over again. And I was just telling myself, you know, when you hear these things at an early age, it helps you. I was saying to myself, I will play this video for my children to listen to. They have to listen to this so that it can start shaping their minds even at a tender age. Because I know a lot of businesses are just asking themselves questions. I wish I had this, you know, much earlier. I wish I knew this earlier. It's not too late. It's not too late. You can actually dust yourself up and, you know, make the changes, the required changes. So we have some few questions. Thank you so much, sir. We're clapping over and over and over and over. Thank you so much. We have some few questions, but we would like you, because, you know, the questions that we had thought through, if you could exhausted it, and this session was so practical, we will want you to send your questions, and sure, this is an opportunity for you to ask those pertinent questions as it relates to your business. So seize this opportunity. All right, so we have some few questions. I will just start with the ones I have here. All right, the women are asking questions. This is very nice. This year, we told ourselves as women, international women, that we choose to challenge. We challenge the status quo, we challenge everything, and we want to stand out. So, Engineer, let's ask this one. There's a question here, you've done so well. What programs have you mapped out to deliberately integrate female entrepreneurs into, well, we can't say into the business because if it's an LNG, there's a process for that. But are there programs, specific programs that are targeted at female entrepreneurs? I know that there's a lot out there. We even have women in business. So there are quite a number of women groups, women organizations. But let me just throw this at you. Maybe there's something additional you want to make to this. Are there some deliberate programs that are focused on female entrepreneurs in the oil and gas space? I also know about the NCC, Octane, and then even the NCMB. There's the Women in Oil and Gas. So that's another organization, Women in Oil and Gas. Yeah, another group in Octane. So let me let you answer that, sir.
Well, thank you, Hansen. I mean, it's a very good question. It's one that not comfortable, to be frank. If you have never experienced it, you won't understand. So at the point when I was still MD of SNEPCO, I happened to be the patron of the Shell Women Network, and they invited me to a meeting. We didn't have COVID, so it was face to face, and I sat in the room. Interestingly, there were only like maybe just about 30 ladies in the room, but as the only non-female member, I sat there, and to be frank, for the first 30 minutes, I couldn't say a word. I had to be invited. So I says, but I'm not saying anything. I said, I feel intimidated. So I couldn't say anything. If you have never experienced that, you probably won't appreciate what this question is. This question is about the natural belief that the industry is a male-dominated industry. It is, interestingly. And it starts really from school. When you go to any university, you go to social sciences, you perhaps see an equal mix. Sciences, you start to see a little skew. When you go to engineering, you then see math differentiation, probably 70% are boys and 30% are girls. So from that point, you already see that there's a problem. The feed into the industry is already skewed at, I mean, being very generous, 50% boys, 30% girls. By the time they get to the industry, it's already diluted further at almost 80-20. So you see that the starting point is almost the same for the 80-20, irrespective of the numbers. And it's not because men are smarter, but it's just the sheer quantum of people who come in the feed. I started my career with a lot of lovely ladies, and somehow by mid-career, you start to look back for the women. There will still be a few, but it now becomes sprinkles. And that's where the challenge is. So part of what we are doing at Nigeria LNG is actually going back to the front line from first principles to say, what can we do to inspire the girl child to focus on sciences, to focus on technology of today, to look forward to becoming an engineer or whatever it is, but most importantly, to take interest in the industry. And that's the kind of area we have. We have only recently actually set a deliberate target for diversity within the company. It's not easy to achieve. Most companies that have achieved it are either in the tech-based company or areas where things are very delicate. You need a bit of patience and focus, which most of us men by nature, not necessarily nurture, do not have. So you find more women in that kind of space. But this industry is one that is skewed more to the male gender. But deliberately, in terms of the female entrepreneurs, I would say there needs to be more that can be done. But the starting point, like I said, what we are doing is going to first principle, going all the way back to the feed point to say, encourage the girl child to do science, inspire the girl child to dream bigger in technology, and then hopefully the feedstock will grow larger and you can get many more people coming to spare. But in terms of just focus on female entrepreneurs, it's about competition. Nothing is going to come to you just because you are a female. Actually, you should feel embarrassed. If I say to you, oh, Hansen, I'm going to make you the general manager of this, just because you are a female, you should feel insulted. you should feel insulted. So there's no differentiation as far as I'm concerned between who is a male entrepreneur or a female entrepreneur. It's not color coded, nor is it gender based. I'm looking at entrepreneurs, and the playground is the same. If you are waiting for that specific uniqueness to come to you because you're female, I think we're having a different conversation. So my general sense would be, whether I'm male or female, what do I need to do to compete? What do I need to do to take advantage of everything I'm looking at? And if you go back to the almost 1 hour engagement we had together, where is the opportunity? Where are the opportunities for me to say, what is the problem? I have a friend who, when I call him, he say, I have the solution. What is the problem? He hasn't even heard my problem, but that's his response. I place a call to him. Hey, my guy, say, hey, what's the problem? I have the solution. I said, but you haven't even heard the problem. I said, that's the point. I'm ready. So can you be in that space, in that sphere of mind to say, I am ready. I'm ready to compete. I'm ready to bring my solution. I'm ready to partner. I'm ready to collaborate. I'm ready to make a difference. But overall, I think you touched on some of them: WinBase, women in oil and gas. I'm a trustee on the women in energy. And so it will be little efforts like that that come together. But my point is, differentiation is not about your gender. Nothing will come to you today just because you are female. What will come to you today is when you show superiority of both quality and competition. I would leave it at that for now.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, that's very true. And like you said it will be very insulting, of anyone to walk up to me and say, I'm giving this to you because you're a woman. It will be very insulting. And, women bring value to the table. So I think Tony has said it all. What's that value you want to bring to the table? What's that solution you're preferring? Let's all build capacity. Even in politics, or they say, what's it called now? To support women in politics. So even in politics, we say nobody will give it to you. You have to go for it. So we really have to go for it. And the value that should be given should be presented. Nobody will give it to you on the platform of gold that you should actually put value on the table. Okay, so there are more questions coming up. How can you compete with a competitor you buy raw materials from, who also sells finished products in that same market? How can you compete with a competitor you buy raw materials from and who also sells same finished products in same market? I don't know if you got that, Tony.
Yeah, I got that. It's a tricky question. Yeah, so I think you need to ask yourself if that's where your strength is. Are you playing on your strength? Are you competing based on your strength, or are you competing based on that 5%, which everybody says, oh, I'm weak in this area, but what can I do to improve on it? That's the kind of question I'm hearing you. But to be frank, competition is not about superiority. Competition could be about your edge. Yes, I buy raw material from this fellow. He's also producing something. How am I going to compete with this person? You're going to say a lot about that. And I will share one example with you. If you are used to going to the UK in the 80s, and you wanted anything grocery, there are only a few places you go for grocery. You went to Safeway, the big stores. That's where you went. Then out of the blues came one corner shop guy, Patel, just down the road. And then the conversation was, oh, you big Safeway and the likes. Wait a minute. There's Patel down the road. So ignore him. He's just a little guy. By the way, he buys the groceries from me. He buys everything from me. I'm stalking him, so it's not competition. But guess what? Within 2-3 years, there were thousands of Patels everywhere. To the extent that I remember saying to my auntie, oh, well, let's have some beer in the fridge. And she said to me, what for? I said, so when we need it, we buy it. I said, no, my fridge is Patel down the road. The beer I need is in Patel's fridge. I know the price. When I need, I go there. The guy is open 24 hours. It's just 5 minutes from my house. If I have to go to Safeway, I need to drive. Suddenly, the big monsters who thought they were superior at the time started to disappear. You will not hear of Safeway today. They are still a big player. They are still big players, but even they have had to decentralize. They've had to respond to change. So it's really about, yes, I buy raw material from you. You have your product. How can I compete with you? Maybe my finished product adds more value than yours. Maybe I can create multiple other spin-offs from the same product. Maybe I can build a better relationship with the customers than you. By the way, in quotes, the way I hear the question is, I'm a small David, but of this big Goliath. Maybe he's so big, he cannot move fast. He relies on people coming to take product from him. What about introducing a niche? So I call the same customer, I say, hey, Hansen, you know what? I know when you want to buy, you are buying from Wabota and Sons. Say, but you have to go there to pick it. We are the same price, by the way, but can I deliver to you? Guess what's going to happen? You're going to say, oh, you will deliver to me? Please bring to me. Then Wabota and Sons suddenly realize that you're no longer coming there. Even though I buy from him or her, they make the same products that I'm going to make, but I create an extra value. I create an extra niche. So that is my competitive edge. The conversation will be around what competitive edge can you introduce, so much so that you are at a better advantage than even the person selling you the raw material that you're competing in the same space. I'll just give you one example. I deliver. They are so big, they rely on people coming to them. So take a second look at the business you are in. Take a plain sheet of paper and do a comparative analysis of your business model versus their business model. Look for the holes in their business model. Look for the advantage in your business model. And as I said, play to your strength. You'll be amazed. I have seen a similar situation, which I'm not going to talk about because I'm not allowed to call the names. But when the chips are down, the big company just bought out this small player. Say, I just buy this guy before he destroy our business. They just bought them over. And we saw the same situation in the North. So I can't use the name of the companies. This is a public event. Anyway, they give refrigerators, which was supposed to be a competitive edge. Every shop you enter, you see their refrigerator. And they sell you drinks to cool in their refrigerator. So the refrigerator was given to you free. You only pay for power, but you cool their drinks. But despite that, they then realized that they weren't moving. And someone then said, you know what, let's do a market survey to find out what is truly going on. And they went shop to shop. Madam, how market you? How many drinks have you sold? Open your fridge, is Zobo inside. Open your fridge, is pure water inside. Open your fridge, is Kunu inside. Where are our own products? They are on the floor one side. How do you respond? Here was a big player who has used his muscle to enable the market, but smaller players who have found niches have taken advantage. So it's really around how can you create a niche out of the situation? Just like we've sampled now, how can you be more agile? Go back to that VUCA. It is ambiguous. How can your agility make a difference? It is complex. They're too big. They are complicated. They have too many staff. Their overhead is massive. How can you be clear and streamlined, leaner, to move faster? So those would be some of my early thoughts. As you say, it's a very big subject, but just touch on it based on that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. So volatility, yeah, is there, but just think about the competitive advantage that you can actually leverage on. It also just reminds me of there's a shop, a corner shop by my house, you know, and the advantage she has is that she sells at very good prices. So she has competitive prices. She sells at competitive prices. So rather than me going to a market square, for example, which is also close by, prefer buying from her, and it's the same products, you know. So that competitive advantage, that competitive edge that you can identify and creating that niche for your business is very important. Thank you very much for that. We have other questions. Some also brought around 27. All right. Does LLNG have plans for incubation centers for technology as such are drivers to the future of our dreams? So does LLNG have plans for incubation centers for technology?
We have plans for technology. You saw some of the pictures in the slides. I can imagine the question is whether we have plans for incubation centers for the public. I think, cut the chase, we are not looking at that as yet, but we are more than open to partner with entities who have that. I mean, a classic example, we are looking at Bonny Dubai, which is an ambition we have to say, on the back of building a road that comes into Bonny, growing tourism within Bonny, opening up our airstrip to tourists, opening up our golf course to tourists, building what is a consulate building, a replica of where the British Protectorate governed in terms of early trades across the channel of Bonny. What else can we do, from a technology standpoint? And today we have a proposal to make Bonny a Wi-Fi enabled city, technology based. So I believe that we can build on the back of that, we can build incubation centers around. It's not something we have thought of for public use. Internally, we are doing a lot. We even have a digital department. We now have a technical division. We have people setting up and looking to the future as a reference, looking through the lens of what we can see to position Nigeria LNG, that landing at 2050, which we say is triple F, being fit for 50 is our ambition, but it's all internal, and unfortunately, I can't share everything. But externally, you will be right if you say we are not doing enough, but I think we are setting up the platform for that to happen. But if you have ideas on what we can do together with respect to technology incubation centers, please send me an email, and I'm happy to have my colleagues look at it. And you just never know where these partnerships come from. This could be the beginning of a collaboration between ourselves and your entity. If you are a specialist at technology incubation, we are not. We are a gas company, and as I said, unapologetically, we will stay focused on gas.
Wow. Wow. So, this is already showing us opportunities that exist. And I'm sure for some people, they are taking down notes and saying to themselves, I would see this opportunity and go into some partnership. All right. So it still speaks to the opportunities around. So it's important for us to identify the opportunities that LNG provide, existence of LNG provides. So the opportunities around LNG, the value chain. So it's to identify the opportunities that exist, the value chain, and then key into it. And Tony has talked about, there's a need for some partnership vision centers. So this is an opportunity that, any smart person would actually start thinking about. All right, so we have other questions. Now, while I look at the questions on the chat box, you talked a lot about reflective thinking. Yeah, reflective thinking is very important. It gives you true perspective. But there are some times when you're sitting down still reflecting because of the fast pace the world is taking. You're sitting down reflecting, and then suddenly you just see the idea you've been thinking about already being implemented by somebody else. And so you were like, wow, I was here reflecting and thinking and all. So how agile should one be, even in the course of reflecting? How agile should one be so that you do not just sit down, you're reflecting, and then the ideas you have thought of, you just see it being implemented? How agile can businesses be?
It's difficult to say, Hansen. Agility has to be relative. It depends on what you're looking at. It depends on what you're dealing with. But I know the feeling of what you just described. I'm sitting there reflecting on something, and then it hits you. Oh, wait a minute, someone's already touching on that. The truth is that there's nothing you are thinking about that someone else has not thought of somewhere in the world. It may just not be public to you yet, but someone somewhere has thought about it. Now, personally, something hit me a couple of years ago when I first saw the digital camera, where you can take a picture and delete it. It then occurred to me, I think it was my secondary year 2 or so, little boys, in your white and white shorts, seniors wore trousers. You probably went through the same thing in school. And we all sat down to take a class picture, and the shot was taken. It was your usual film, Fuji film based, shot, Kodak, whatever it was at the time. And one of my colleagues, Andrew, complained that, no, I didn't smile. Then someone in my class actually said, why don't you delete that one and take another one? And we all laughed. But more than 20, 25 years later, we actually now have cameras that you can take. In fact, when I give my daughter my camera, I say, please just take one shot. It takes like 15, 20. And I say, you took too many. Say, I just choose anyone and delete the rest. But were we at that level of consciousness 40 years ago, that, wait a minute, say it again. What did you just say? Delete it and take another one. How? If we had started to think about that, perhaps we could have had eureka moments. But again, we were limited by what we could see or take in. So I think agility has got to be relative, but you've got to introspectively listen more and see if an apple is falling next to you. You know how all of these things happen. A lot of the innovations are not things that somebody says, okay, I'm going to design a screen where I can be in the comfort of my home and dancing in an office in Abuja, wherever you are, and we can have a conversation. No, some of these things happen. Some based on observation, some based on listening, but some absolutely based on actually looking for solutions. There's so many problems today for which we can find solution. If someone has found it before you, find another one, or find a way to make what they have found better, which is not different from the material, and we're competing at the space. So agility is relative and is driven by truly what you want to achieve and how fast you want to get there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so just also reminds me of a group of friends back in school that talked about, back then we had JAM, where you go to your JAM center and then you're writing your JAM in one horrible place. And then they were thinking about, what about computer-based testing? And it sounded very weird. How can computer-based testing, the crowd I saw when I went for my JAM exams, there's no way computers can be used to write JAM. But today the story is different. And interestingly, they began that business and they're actually in big business today. They caused the transformation. So one thing also is thinking 5, 6, 7 years ahead, 10 years ahead, in fact. So that's one very important thing. Another thing, a friend, just yesterday, said the wife had left oil and gas in Canada into consulting business. I was like, wow, really? You left oil and gas industry to consulting? And he said, yes. I said, why? Why is that? He said, oh, in Alberta now, the oil and gas industry is not as it was. And he gave some reasons and all. And I'm like, really? So there's a lot of changes happening, and we really have to be agile. We have to think 5, 10 years ahead. We have to actually help grow our businesses by even our thought pattern. There's a question on train 7. Let me ask a question. Yeah, might help somebody. What platforms are bids on train 7 sent on? Yeah, this is quite direct, but let's take that. What platforms are bids on train 7 sent on? It's possible the technical people might be the ones to have this answer.
Thanks for that. I think it's important to give a bit of clarity. So Train 7 is in old parlance a turnkey project. So essentially, we have contracted to the consortium of Saipem, Toyota, and Daewoo, SCD, in a joint venture, are the contractors that are working for us. We do not have a platform of our own. As I say, turnkey, we've awarded to them for them to to deliver, and we come and collect the key and turn it whatever, if that symbolizes what turnkey means. So if you are looking for what platforms Trin7 opportunities will be on, it's got to be really within those three entities of Saipem, Chiyoda, and Daewoo. I think the question will be very apt to Saipem, which is leading the consortium. I believe you will get by far more information on how they are working their processes. We're not involved in the subcontracting. Our job was done once we the investment decision and indeed signed the contract. So most value-based opportunities around platforms will be linked to the contractors directly. So I would encourage you to find a way to connect with Saipem or Chiyoda if you're a technology-based entity, or look on their website. If you go on our website today, all you will find is a disclaimer, because a lot of people are calling us to say, please, can you give me jobs? I say, we don't give jobs. Everything is being contracted, and we just sit back and the project to finish. They will deploying. I will encourage you to look that up on their website, or maybe ask my colleague Charles. If you send him a note, he will be able to guide you better.
All right. Thank you very much. The questions we have now are around, contracting and all. If we have more questions as regards business growth, that might be helpful. So let's put our questions around business growth. I see questions about community contractors, having to go through community contractors to implement projects. But let's ask the question. So if you have questions around business growth and all, I think you can bring that on. One other question: what initiative does Energy have in place to assist the government in drafting oil and gas policies that will allow the industry to thrive seamlessly? LNG's government also, let me not see his government, but
Private company.
Yes.
We are actually a private company, even though government is a part, and really are around the limits of how much a private company can influence government. We are quite limited, but the truth is that we are quite active in terms of helping government, consistent with our vision of helping to build a better nation. If you just think back a couple of weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, if I recall, when the federal government, through the Office of the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum, declared the decade of gas. If you notice, that was really sponsored and powered by Nigeria LNG. So we are a catalyst, essentially. We don't define, we don't take over a role of government, but we position as a catalyst to ensure that government, first of all, is well informed. Government understands what's in play within the industry, but government also understands what is happening globally. And we offer our technical support every now and then. But when it comes to drafting of policies directly, that is the work of government. At best, we will give our views. If you look at the much talked about PIB, for example, at the public hearing, Nigeria LNG was present, and we gave our views, and we gave our suggestions and our guidance. But it behoves on government to decide what she believes is the policy to enhance the industry. But we are very focused on gas. And as I said, we had the conversations on the decade of gas. We are continuing to underpin that, working with the Office of the GMD, NNPC, and the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum to just ensure that we never miss the opportunity of helping Nigeria, as we said, with a cliche of flying on the wings of gas at the time, having ridden on the back of oil for more than 50 years, and knowing that the energy transition here, oil will still be relevant, maybe not as relevant in terms of the overarching value than Nigeria, which is solely designed as a mono economy to survive. And that's partly why we see opportunity in the gas space and we are consistently in conversation with government to ensure that they can look through the same lenses as we do to start to position Nigeria. That next economy should be underpinned by gas. And as we have said, gas is more than just energy. Gas is food through fertilizer. Gas is employment. Gas is industrialization, gas is manufacturing. Gas is everything. And we believe that support will be needed. And we are actively waiting in that space, working with government to just unleash the gas potential of Nigeria.
Okay. Thank you. So I will just write on that to take this question. In market diversifying from oil and gas, even for the IOCs and co-own LNG, is there any diversification plan as to invest profits from LNG today in renewable energy or alternative power generation, being a core energy company?
No, it's a very good question. No, I got it, or at least I believe I got it. if not, maybe you can repeat. But I think we see renewables. We see the energy transition. We recognize the changing energy mix, and I've talked about it. If you go back to Mr. John Goodenough, that perhaps singularly is the biggest disruptor of the entire global energy, which we didn't see because his lithium battery dates more than 40, 45 years ago. But it's been improved to the point where today it could just be the singular car that will change everything, So we are in tune with the current reality and the transition that is happening. But like with every company, you've got to put a stake in the ground. You've got to take a position. We have taken the position that we will remain a core gas company, not even an energy company. The big IOCs, our shareholders, we've had things around becoming energy companies. So one of them, for example, is betting on gas and solar. Another is betting on gas and wind. Another is betting on multiple fragments, including hydro, depending on where their market is. We are betting solo on gas because that's our strength, that's our need. But we are not unmindful of the transition and the rapidity with which potentially it can happen. So as such, even though we are betting actively on gas, we are positioning to be nimble for if that bet doesn't turn out to be what we will be. As we speak, I touched on hydrogen as the potential disruption that can change every perception we have of gas today, because hydrogen is available everywhere. Hydrogen is in the air, hydrogen is in water, but hydrogen is also in gas, which I talked about. If you want to make hydrogen, blue and gray hydrogen really come from gas. It's green hydrogen that you will stay with full electrolysis and you take that from water, crack the hydrogen from oxygen, unleash the oxygen and make a better world. All of that will be underpinned by where technology goes. No one knows. We don't know. Today, there's a lot talked about cost and about technology development. But technology and the world are moving so fast that you never know. So I would say that we're positioning to thrive as the transition happens and stay relevant, stay competitive. But in today's reality, our stake in the ground is that gas will continue to be relevant and we will build on our strength to stay core in the gas space.
All right, thank you very much. This way we'll be wrapping the question interactive session. We have had very intelligent suggestions and a wonderful discussion you've had this afternoon. And I would just add by saying, by encouraging every contractor to actually look out for the niche that they want to make of their business. Because like you said, gas is your area of focus. That's where your core is. It just dates back, or just reminds me of Mobil. So for even the contractors, Standard Oil used to sell kerosene a lot. That was their core products, kerosene in the US market. But today, Standard Oil has transformed and all to what Mobil is today, and then ExxonMobil. And the demand for kerosene then was what motivated Standard Oil to, focus on selling kerosene in the whole of the US in the 1870s. But today things have changed. So yes, in the course of the changing business climate and all, it's encouraging for every business to actually identify their areas of strength and create a niche for themselves in those businesses. This is key, it's fundamental. At this time, we would say a big thank you again. The questions we have just bother around contracts and all, so we wouldn't be taking those questions. We've seen your comments and it's very good networking. That's very good. Okay, there's another one here. I think we can take this one. All right, yes, I think I had that question. Let me also ask, yeah, so how do you grow the talents for the future, in an industry where labor turnover is high and a lot of personnel, a lot of people in the oil and gas space are looking for great opportunities. So the labor turnover is so high. So how do you grow the talent for the future or in the future in an industry where labor turnover is so high?
I am I'm a strong disciple of growing talent. I'm talent focused because I believe talent is everything. But you're right. It begs the question, which talent? What talent? Talent of today, talent of tomorrow, talent for tomorrow, or talent in the future. So those are all things that you can really, really spend weeks researching and conversing on. As I said, COVID has taught us a lot of lessons. A lot of companies, including ours, literally had things we refer to as flexible working in the past, which for somebody like me who wakes up rather late, say, look, please, can I start at 9 instead of 7? I'm at best if I get that extra 1, 2 hours sleep. But you contract with your line and say, okay, no, start at 9. But if you start at 9, you cannot finish as 4, as somebody who started at 7. So I say, yeah, I agree with that. So I start at 9 and finish at 6, but my 8 hours will be in. That's flexibility. So we introduced flexibility earlier on to the extent that once COVID hit, you had to have either had that flexibility or completely locked out. Our offices have been shut for 1 year today. We celebrated 1 year of working from home on March the 26th. So think about what kind of talents do you have? Are they talents that can only work when they are on their desks in the offices, or are they talents that are flexible, that can grow? Even the mindset and the definition of work completely changed. It's a very tough reality, but we had to resiliently respond. As I said to one of my friends a long time ago, I said, the concept of work has changed. I missed a webinar yesterday, which was hosted to discuss the future of work. That was the title. I hope it's recorded so I can watch it. In my time, if you came to my house when I was a teenager and said, where is Dad? The answer on a weekday is very clear. He has gone to work. Where's Mom? She has gone to work. Work was where they went. But in today's reality, work is what you do. Where you do it from, how you do it, no one cares. No, and I say this because the mindset of, oh, I'm developing talent and turnover and they are leaving, that's the current reality. I say to someone, oh, I've been in Shell for 29 years. It says, what's that? You weren't good enough for any other company to invite you? Now, that's the mindset. In my time, it was a thing of pride to say I worked for one company for 30 years. My son would say, I can't work for anyone for more than 3 years. So the contracting is changed. The dimensions around the relationship between employee and employer is changing. The agility in the minds of the new workforce is completely different. So when you say, I have developed a talent and due to turnover is moved on. Why are they moving off from you? Why aren't other talents that are developed from elsewhere coming to you? That's the real question you want to say. How can I be attractive to the talent of the future? I think that's the real conversation we should be having rather than, oh, I'm developing talent and because of turnover, they are leaving me. The question is, why are they leaving you? When they leave you, where are they going? What are those people doing to become the magnet of your own talents that you have developed? I think the question needs to be reversed to say, what can we do, first of all, to retain our talents? But most importantly, what do we need to put in place to attract our talents? I've seen many young people today, I say to them, oh, my mentees, yeah, graduate mentees is still in school. And I say, okay, guys, you're doing great. You're in engineering, I like it. And hopefully when you finish, you'll come to our industry. I was shocked. One of them, a boy, so this is not about gender. I said, never. I said, what do you mean by never? Say, your industry is not helping humanity. Your industry is not helping the world. And I said, I beg your pardon, can you say more? Then they go to climate change, go to changing energy mix, they go to global warming and all of that. And I said, but yeah, those are all things that socially the industry has to deal with and has continued to try and improve, reducing and decarbonizing. But you cannot demonize the industry just back of that. There are issues. But if you look on balance, this industry has brought more to humanity than it has not. So discussing talent is tricky because that next generation, they've moved from generation Y to Z to I don't know what they are called today. It's a completely different mindset. It's really tapping into that mindset, saying, what do we need to do to retain them? What do we need to do to be attractive, to attract them to us? When we attract them, what do we need to do to retain them? So you have said to me, they leave. They leave and go somewhere. So you need to go across that fence and boundary to say, where did they go? And by the way, why are they going there? What do we need to do to start to look like where they are going and hope that maybe not quite the ones who have left us, but others, maybe even smarter, can come to us? But the world has changed. Are you looking for smart people? Or are you looking for bold people? The world used to be for the smart. That has changed. The world is for the brave today. The brave people employ the smart ones. Aliko Dangote is not the smartest man in Africa. He's not the smartest man in Nigeria. Was probably one of the bravest. That's why he's vantage to employ the smart people. So I think the conversation around talent in the future has to be underpinned by what the future brings, but most importantly, by the new social dynamics in play around what the talents desire, what do they want, and how do we keep them? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We can go on and on and on and on. So for everyone on this call, if you can pick 2, 3, 4 things you want to implement to do differently, that would be very good. What can you do differently? The world of work has changed. The business dynamics have changed. What can you do differently? One key, there's a lot in baskets, so much. I'm saying to myself, leadership, what happens in your business when you're there? That really struck a chord. Leadership, what happens in your business when you are not there? That's something to build a resilient business. Like if your absence is still thrives. So I would say thank you again, Engineer Tony, for your time, for all you've talked about today. The comments just keep coming. Some people have said they have a mindset change. Some have said, oh, you've awoken the giant in them. You have done more than even our expectation. Thank you so much. And I know that going back to the expectations that people had at the beginning of this session, I will see that those expectations have been met. If we have to go through everything, it has all been met. Thank you so much, Engineer Tony, for your time. I'll hand over to Ben Wari as we conclude the session. We'll be concluding very soon, so just stay seated. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, thank you.
It's a pleasure to be
Thank
here.
you very much, Mrs. Hansen. And I also want to once again thank Engineer Tony. I would just want to describe this session with you as insightful, thoughts and action-provoking session. And I'm sure that as we move on from here, we'll see a lot of changes that will happen in the way we do business in the industry. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now we're going to, as part of wrapping up, we'll take the workshop evaluation. We're going to run a poll, and we would like you to give us your feedback. The poll will be launched now. We would like you to give us your feedback, and it will be on all through the closing session for this program. While we're doing that, I would also like to call on the General Manager, Capacity Building Division of NCDMB, Dr. Ama Ikuru, to give us the closing remarks.
Okay, thank you very much, Ben. I think I feel very, delighted that we got Tony to, talk to us during this session. We've been trying to get Tony to for a very long time, and I insisted we must get him because I know Tony is hot stuff. It's not very easy to get Tony to do this. So I sat all through. I listened all through. I kept writing. I had so many good things. Leadership is what happens when in your organization, when you're not there. Build on your strength. What will the world miss when you're not there, when you're gone? Do you know your purpose? What solution are you bringing to the world? We learned about John Goodenough, Timber Berners-Lee, and of course, Mother Teresa. And then he taught us to aspire. He taught us about leadership. He taught us about collaboration. He taught us about so many good stuff. Yeah. And then you said it's a rare gem. You said you said it's inspiring. You said challenging. You said it made your day. And some of you said it's mind sharpening for every businessman. And I will add every businesswoman so that I can go home free. And some said he has awoken the giant in all of us. Tony, we cannot thank you so very much for what you do. I am very positive and sure if you call Tony tomorrow, he will come with even greater ideas. Wow, wow, wow. So it's the type of person you want to have all the time in your sessions. For us as NCDMB, our job is to keep bringing down the type of insights you got today. The next one is planned for, I think, is it June 3rd? And we have a former leader in the industry and now the chairman of Julius Berger, Mr. Mutu Sumono, to also help us with the process. And we are looking forward to seeing other people to fund this process. So sharing your time with us, I will thank Edogon for being a wonderful moderator. See, with this one, she took 70% or 80% of the time today so that women will not say men are taking all the opportunities. If you have a job like this one, you need a good facilitator, and you'll see one in Edogon. So Edogon, thank you very much, and thanks to the team in wider perspective for supporting us.
Thank you.
I know Canada is there. Canada is a wonderful person, but he has said, I want to be free, I don't want trouble. Let me allow Edogon to run the show. With,
Thank you.
we are free. So thank you so very much for all the guys on the call. Yeah, it's one thing to hear, it's one thing to aspire, it's one thing to have a great plan, but execution is key. Go out there, do the things that you heard from Tony. If you have to eat an omelette, Tony said you must break the egg. So go home, break the egg, do the, and you will enjoy yourselves. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Tony. I will meet you again. We'll see you again in June in the next series of the business mentoring workshops. Thank you from the NCDMB, and goodbye. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. So last break, can you allow everyone to put...
I want a standing ovation for Tony from everybody, please. So just unmute and clap for Tony for the wonderful job he did today.
All right.
Thank you. Email, please. Thank you, Engineer Tony.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Engineer Tony.
Very, very nice.
Great.
Okay to be with you.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you very much for all the organizers.
Thank you for even the organizers.
Thank you, senior citizen, and
Thank you,
very much the
Commander
organizers
Limited.
from Emmanuel Coleman. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Limited.
ACDMD, you have been very fantastic.
Thank you from Jicons Federation.
We are really making progress.
God bless.
You are right.
Thank you from
Thank you from Mr. Joffy Oil Services Limited.
Thank you from AIG Limited.
Thank you from Morning Limited.
Thank you from Bankland Nigeria Limited.
From